a key component of stopping the violence in the city of Chicago and across this country is when communities decide enough is enough. When communities decide you cannot shoot and kill our children and go back and hide in our neighborhoods, lay up in the house and watch TV until you shoot and kill somebody else. When neighborhoods decide that that's not going to happen anymore, it will send a message, it's not going to happen here. And it'll send a message to the shooters, there's consequences if you go after our children.
We have mothers here, tears are shedding just as fast as it rains on the street, and our blood is on the street, and we're cleaning it up, and nobody's picking up the phone, dialing 911.
Since my son got killed, I was going out every 2 weeks passing out flyers. I wouldn't have had to expect that to happen to my son because he was more like a homebody boy, went out every now and then. He had been in the house all day that day. I didn't expect him to be in the house all day and then walk out and get killed.
On April 1st of 2006, my son was at the movie theater at Ford City Mall. Unfortunately, we were with some friends and got into an altercation, and he was shot and killed. My son was a Jesse White tumbler, played for Robeson High School. 2 weeks before he was killed, he had just signed a letter of intent to go to Arizona State.
This past week, the accused shooter of Willie Williams was caught. He was caught by a combination of great police work, of a reward, and of community residents that came forward and spoke.
I commend those who speak up on behalf of the children of unsolved murders. As a parent who knows all too well firsthand what losing a child is like. The pain of burying your child is almost unbearable at times. And then not to have that person who took your child's life in custody adds to the insult. But in our case, Blair's murder was able to be brought in and brought to justice because of technology. But it didn't stop there. The young people on the bus, they were witnesses, and they identified the shooter in Blair's murder. They were teens who had the courage and the moral conviction to see justice done. They would not let their friend die in vain. They would not let their fear take over what they had witnessed.
Four years ago, this young man was the epitome of a good student, of a good son. And then he's murdered, and the nightmare for his family begins. And unfortunately, the killer, the murderer, is still out there. So the nightmare doesn't end. The courage that the Bosleys and all these families up here have shown through this tragedy is immeasurable. We talk of heroes, guys that can throw a football 75 yards down the field or hit a 450-foot home run. These are the real heroes because they have not wavered from trying to make a difference in keeping this violence from spreading into other families within their communities.
I appreciate you all coming out to support us. And I want to say thank you again to everyone that's here to unveil Terrell's Billboard. We're hoping that this billboard will bring closure to the 4 years that we didn't have that Terrell's life was stolen from us. Terrell was murdered on this street, which if you can look around, this is the most busiest street in Chicago. There's a Wendy's across the street from the church, a Maxwell Police place, a car wash, and I don't understand why nobody didn't say what they saw. I know people saw who murdered my son, but nobody said anything. They just watched my son's blood be shedded on the streets of Chicago, and everybody just walked away and didn't say anything. But I don't understand, how can a person who witnessed this crime, how can they live with themselves? How they get out of the bed in the morning and just continue to live? And the person that shot my son, how you just walk away from that? You just leave an innocent young man, laid on the street. You just take his life.
My son Terrell, as many of you know, he was a gospel bass player here in the city of Chicago. He played for many different churches. And I remember having a conversation with Terrell, because I was always worried about him traveling to the different neighborhoods. And I said, son, aren't you afraid? And he said, this is my ministry. This is what I do.
Something I don't understand, how we follow rule, don't snitch. That's why our kids' lives are being taken every day, because we got this rule within our community. Do you not realize that if this continues, that we don't snitch and we don't try to save our children, that one day you're going to wake up in the black and brown community going to be a snitch. We're not going to be here anymore. We're going to be in a museum, and people are going to be looking at us saying, that's the way the African Americans used to look. But now they're gone because they killed one another.
With that being said, we have to have the courage to not be afraid to stand up against these people who are taking the lives of our innocent kids.
But we have to come together as a community. We have to fight for our community. Today we asking that you all, continue to fight. I know this is a fight, and some people always ask, what can we do? This is what you can do. You can take a stand in your community whenever you witness any type of crime. You need to take a stand and do it.
4 years now has passed since the death of my grandson, Terrell M. The only thing that keeps us going is believing, hope, to give us strength. It's going to take all of us working together, looking out for one another. I believe that there's still hope for our society. But all of us got to work together. If we work together, I believe that if we open up our mouths and start talking, because right now we are saying it is in certain communities, but if you mess around and keep going to sleep and waking up every morning, you'll find out that the same thing will be knocking on your door. So all of us got to be able to stand up. If we see something, let somebody know.
And I'd like to take just a moment to talk about this whole don't be a snitch. It helps one person, the killers, the shooters. It makes no sense to me. Don't be a snitch. Don't say who's killing people in the community. Because if they will kill one person, they will kill another. So the people who are being asked, don't come forward, will be in a position to be tomorrow's victims. And the violence just continues. If you do nothing, this violence will keep going on. And those people who are committed to commit evil against fellow human beings are still out there.
We cannot bring back Terrell Bosley to Pam and Tom. But they deserve the closure and the justice.
Yes.
They deserve the closure and justice. That the one who killed their son is punished and behind bars. They work every day to try to save somebody else's son. You who know what happened, why don't you do something to save somebody else's son and turn in the killer?